Welcome to the Tom Bernard Podcast with the family with
co-host Catherine Brandt,
Alex Bernard Rasmussen,
Andy Bernard,
and Kristen Burt.
Hey, look at that. We got everybody all covered.
We did it.
And there's a couple of children running around too.
they're
That's all
running
I know.
around. Yes.
Easter
Yes, they
Monday.
certainly are.
We'll see how long they last.
Just another
Yeah, big
Easter.
weekend for Catholics. The Pope
Pope
croaked
died,
today.
yeah.
Pope died.
What?
Pope
Yeah,
Or
died
yesterday.
today.
No,
Here.
he
Was
yeah.
it
No
yesterday?
more Pope.
What?
The
Yes,
Pope-
it
the
looks
Pope
like a
pooped out yesterday.
cerebral hemorrhage.
Oh my!
Cerebral
Well,
hemorrhage. Didn't he
apparently-
have pneumonia for like 87 years.
Did
When-
and then the Italian press is reporting either a stroke or cerebral
Wow.
hemorrhage.
well,
That's bad
when
luck.
J.D. Vance, our vice president, met with him yesterday, I think,
Mhm.
Right.
he said he was
Wow.
clearly very ill.
Yeah.
Yeah.
He did look well in the photos and even in the short video clip that I saw from
He
that
looked
meeting.
bad.
He looked
He looked
did.
very frail. And he also did the big ride in the Pope Mobile, which, I mean, he really pushed himself yesterday. So he probably just,
Yeah.
that was too
and he
much
spoke
for
at
him.
services
Oh, did
briefly.
he?
Yeah, he did.
Oh.
He didn't do the whole mass, but he spoke briefly. And that yesterday was a big day. I mean, that
Yeah.
must have been a lot.
You know what's amazing about that is I grew up Roman Catholic. I went to Catholic school until I was in 8th grade. So I went to public school for kindergarten because they didn't have kindergarten at the Catholic school. Then I went to St. Joe's for 6 years. Then I went to St. Anne's for 2 years. And then I went back to public school. And what was interesting about that whole run as a Roman Catholic, and I'm still a Roman Catholic. I maybe don't follow all the rules, but that's the kind of way that deal is. But I just have noticed, and I can be very, very honest, and I'm not trying to disparage anyone or whatever, but that latest Pope was not my kind of guy.
Yeah.
He just wasn't. He
Officer
he
Dave's
didn't.
going to come
he
in
was-
the chat and chastise us for heresy soon.
Well,
I suppose.
I guess if you're a pope, the best day that you could die would be on Easter Sunday.
Yeah,
I
think
mean,
about
it's
that.
Very
pretty
religious day.
very religious day,
And
and
catch the bus up to heaven with Jesus, right?
There you go. Nothing wrong with that.
exactly.
You
So
can just hold on to his sandal while he ascends to the heavens.
Even as I believe 5-year-old. When was Pope Pius XII last?
I don't know.
Yes.
Last
Popes.
in the popehood.
1958.
There you go. That would make total sense because I was 6 years old. He died in 58.
Yes. He was born in 1876.
1876.
God.
We're going back a ways here.
That's a ways back.
I remember in church always praying for Pope John Paul.
John
Pope
Paul
John Paul
II was the one that
II?
And
No,
I mean, it was
John-
forever and ever. And nobody ever
Really?
told me that he died. And we got a new one. All of a sudden I go to church and someone's praying in a different Pope name. I'm like, what?
Mm,
What
Was
happened
it
to that
Pope
Pope?
John Paul that it was like death watch for like weeks?
Yes.
yes.
There was
think
one,
all
yeah,
of them-
and I just
yeah.
remember that everyone was like, "Is he still alive?" Like it just became a thing in the press.
Yeah.
John Paul II was what do you call it when you become a pope? Popified? He was
Popified, that's what
popified
they
in
call it.
1978.
There you go. 1978.
Yeah, he died in 2005, so almost 30 years.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Who was the Pope in like 1965?
1965, Pope. Let's see. That would have been Paul the Sixth.
Oh, Pope Paul. Yeah, that makes sense.
Not
The
John Paul, just Paul.
The reason I think of Pope Paul is because I remember him taking a picture with the Beatles. I thought that was very cool.
was it Benedict was the one who didn't want to be pope, and they kind of forced him to be pope,
Yeah,
and then
I
he
think
quit?
so.
Yeah.
Yep. I think
That's
you're right.
weird. Why would you force someone to be Pope?
And he was the one that loved fancy shoes, if I'm correct. Like he always
Yes.
had on like $500 designer shoes.
One of the collection plate to get that money. Is that what he did?
I don't know, but
Yeah.
No, you know what? I've loved being Catholic my whole life. I'm not a very religious guy, but Catholicism is basically a combination of Irish and Italian. That's basically what it is.
You're there for the cultural enrichment.
And cultural enrichment. That's exactly right. But I mean, so it's a very sad day. I don't, this last one wasn't my kind of guy. I know he was always crabby about something.
Yeah.
And of course,
You got a
social
lot of-
media, it was like, oh, well, see, J.D. Vance
I know.
visited him and then he's dead. It's because he's the devil.
I mean, listen,
Come on.
if I met with someone like, and then 7 hours later they're dead, I wouldn't feel great about it. Only because here's the thing: I feel like the people around the Pope. I'm not talking about the people around JD Vance, but like
Yeah.
encouraging him to like be out there and doing the service and
Yeah.
meeting with political leaders. It just sounds like a lot. And I would feel
It
guilty.
does.
Here's the Catholic guilt to me. I would feel guilty that I contributed maybe to his exhaustion. That would be it.
I
Really?
mean,
Well-
88 years old, pneumonia, brain hemorrhage. It's like, I don't know. What
Yeah,
can
he
you
didn't
do,
have
really?
he didn't have long to live, probably.
No,
Anyway.
I don't think he did.
And I'm
No.
sure he wanted to do this, otherwise he wouldn't have been able to get the energy up to do it.
And I have a question
No,
for all of you.
absolutely not.
My question is this, and I'm not, trying to pontificate here. Get it?
Ah.
Pontificate. See, get that all. Do you think because people are not as religious as they used to be, and then you get the social media aspect of it, people have never been meaner to each other than they are on social media right now. I was looking at it this morning. It's like, it had nothing to do with me. I just was reading some of the posts. I mean, people are vicious to one another right now on social media. What is that all about?
They always have been. You're
Yeah,
just,
I don't
you're
know.
just
Yeah,
noticing.
Like
Really?
during
Yeah.
COVID, it was by far the worst it ever.
Oh, was it?
Oh, that
Like,
was awful.
ever.
Yeah.
That was
I spend a
horrific.
lot less time on social media and it's
Yeah.
enjoyable. It really is.
No, the Pope died because I haven't
It
Yeah.
just-
I mean,
like, been on it.
I think it just happened like this morning.
Really,
Yeah.
but I feel like that would be all over my social media because I know quite a few like very religious people.
That's true.
Oh, do you?
But are they Catholic?
Yeah, I know a fair amount of
A lot
Catholic.
of Catholics.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, that was a big deal. Like Tom Gorman, remember, he was my friend, and when he was at where was he at the time? He was at one of the record companies when I was at Capitol, and he and I became really, really good friends. But he was an Irish guy from Cleveland, and he was Catholic. I will tell you that. Then he married a Jewish girl, which I thought was rather interesting.
Very Old Testament.
Very Old Testament, no question about it.
Catholics
there-
love themselves some Old Testament.
Well, we had a fun church experience. So Saturday night we go to mass. It's Easter weekend, and we don't want to do the Sunday
Yep.
morning stuff when all the
Yep.
when
Yeah.
everybody shows up for Easter. We sit there. So I look online. 5:30. Go. 5:30. Some people in there, but not very many. I thought, wow, this is kind of a late turnout for an Easter mass.
Right.
All of a sudden, 10 minutes go by. People start getting up and leaving. And I look at, they give you that daily missal thing
Mm-hmm.
for the mass.
Missile?
On the,
Yeah,
I think it's called a missal. On the outside of it, it says 5:30. On the inside, it says that the Holy Mass will be at 7:30
Yep.
because there's some sort of vigil mass in the Catholic faith that has to be after sunset,
See,
which we didn't know. So I hope we got credit.
yeah, I'm sure we got credit. It
We
was-
tried.
Everybody
God
stopped
is
by.
like half a point.
Yeah, I really tried.
Everybody
Easter
stopped by.
vigil begins between sunset on Holy Saturday and sunrise on Easter Sunday. So that shouldn't have affected it.
Well, that's why a lot of churches down here have a sunrise service.
Yeah. So the
Yeah.
vigil would have ended on sunrise on Sunday. So you should have been fine. I don't know.
I don't know.
There it is. So I basically did one more thing, and then we got to give, of course, Kristen Burt's report of how things are going on in Hollywood and all the rest of it. But today was one of those days I kind of really realized how much I miss AM radio, because even though it still exists, nobody ever listens to it anymore. Used to be a lot of great shows, a lot of talk shows, of course, on AM. And AM radio is dead now. Like pretty much nobody listens to AM radio anymore.
We have
And I'm
KFI
won-
out here. Does
What's
so
that?
well. It does well.
Does
KFI.
it- KFI does.
Yeah.
There are a couple of. There's probably one in every city in
Mountainy
America.
area, I would think mountain areas.
Yeah, mountain areas probably.
Mhm.
Yeah, that's very, very true, because they carry right through all that stuff. But I went on. I'm kind of tying two things together here, because I went on social media this morning looking for something, and people are just being vicious to one another on social media, and I'm like, what is that all about now? I mean, and then I thought, if AM radio hadn't died, you could go on and talk about this and go, why are you so upset? I mean, it's not just I disagree with you. It's I disagree with you and I'd like to kill you. It's like, what? Calm down. If people have a different opinion than you actually like to see them dead. What? What happened there? Explain
Keyboard
that to me.
warriors,
I think what I'm
none
gonna
of us
do-
should have ever had the power to be on social media and voicing our opinions all the time.
Yeah, you might be right
Yeah.
about that.
The downfall of society.
I might, honest to God, try to reach out and try to buy an FM time slot so I can go on the radio and go, would you people calm the hell down? Jesus, there's just nobody giving, whether you like them or not. There were far left people on AM. There were far right people on AM. I used to listen to both just to hear both sides of the story. And you can't do that anymore. You can't get both sides of the story anymore because it's there, but nobody's on it anymore. So people are getting very, very mean right now. And I don't know, what is that all about? Is it just because they have a voice now? Is that what it is?
I mean, social media has been like this, I think, for
Yeah.
a long time.
Yes.
I would
Longer
say,
than you've been on the internet.
yeah, probably at least a decade.
Jesus.
Yeah.
Why are they so mean to one another?
I don't know. And I just start avoiding the platforms that
Yeah.
really allow the vitriol to go back and forth. So, I appreciate things like TikTok where it's just like my algorithm is all like cats and dogs. And,
Mhm.
I
Yeah.
watched a bunch of
Good.
people like with their Easter celebrations and how they hid their eggs. And one
That's
grandmother
wonderful.
did like
Yep.
a glow in the dark Easter egg hunt, which looked
Aw.
amazing. Honestly, they did it
Aw.
they did it Saturday night, and the kids all went and found their glow in the dark eggs. And I was like, now that's how you do an Easter egg hunt, because you
That
won't be
would be
finding
fun.
them 6 months later.
That's
So,
right.
Yeah,
I might-
that's true.
When I was growing up, we used real hard boiled eggs.
It sounds
Now,
like
how
a classic,
often would
yeah.
you find one like a week or
Yeah.
two later?
A lot of times.
Yeah.
Smell.
I don't
No
know.
Well, we
question.
always had them outside. Didn't
Just
matter.
release the hounds and let them find them. They will.
That's true.
Or
The
just
hounds?
write down where you put them.
Dan said, because we did hard boiled eggs yesterday. I didn't hide the hard boiled eggs, but the kids all decorated
Yeah, we did
them. They
that.
all came up to
Mhm.
our house. We have one of those little spinny things where you just hold the marker.
Oh,
Fantastic invention. But I didn't hide the hard boiled eggs, and I just hid plastic eggs with nothing in them, and each kid just had to find the one with their name on it.
Mhm.
And then they
Oh.
brought it to me for a prize. Anyway, and Dan was like, 1 year, like we always hit hard boiled eggs, and 1 year we couldn't find the last one. Like there was one that was missing. And then he said that they found it a while later, and it was like everything inside it had just dried up and
Mhm.
evaporated. Like it was just the
Yeah.
shell
Oh,
that was left.
Yeah.
I didn't know they would do that.
Yeah, it didn't like rot. They said it never smelled. Like they figured that they'd be able to smell some horrible smell at some point, but it was like all of a sudden we found it randomly one day, and it was basically just the shell.
Oh, that's interesting. Because I would assume you'd just start
Yeah.
smelling like the stench of
Absolutely.
rotting
Yeah.
eggs.
Because like hard-boiled eggs smell to begin
They do.
with. You know,
Yeah.
like my whole fridge smelled like farts
Yep.
yesterday.
Oh, that's
Every
nice.
time I opened it, I was like, oh,
I used to make hard-boiled eggs like almost every day, and yeah, it never
Yeah.
smells good.
they smell. I will say though, for breakfast, I made curried egg salad on half of an everything bagel. Fantastic. Highly recommend. Highly recommend.
Kristen's
like
making a
eggs.
face, so we'll go.
I don't
we'll
like
go to,
eggs or mayo.
We'll go to break quickly and come back so she gets that look off her face. We'll be right after this. Kristen Burt. From Bradshaw and Bryant, Michael Bryant. What's up, Allie?
Oh, not much. Doing my usual thing of telling people they shouldn't be texting and driving. In Minnesota, you can't have your phone in your hands. You can use, hands free, but you can't have your phone in your hands for whatever reason. And that's why they made the law the way they did, so that police officers could see a phone in your hand and you got no excuse for why you got it there.
Do people know that that's the law?
I hope so. I mean, they used to follow it, and then kind of COVID kind of made people forget. And now it's like a freewheeling world out there with cell phones.
Let's say you get pulled over because you do have a phone in your hand and you're not watching where you're going. You got to be in pretty big trouble then, I would guess.
Well, the first one's not as bad. It's the multiple ones, the problem. And once people start stacking them up, then they have a big problem. And then what we're doing in car accidents is we've started bringing motions for punitive damages, because I'm trying to use the civil law any way we can to stop this, because it needs to stop.
Whenever I'd had any problems in my life, who was that I called again? It was like an MB, something like that.
Bradshaw and Bryant.
Let us talk about my bank. That'd be, of course, North American Banking Company. Look, it's easy to feel like just another account number at the big national banks, but that's not how it works with my friends at North American Banking Company. Whether you're visiting their locations in Roseville, 50th and France, Hastings, Woodbury, Shoreview, or Maple Grove, you'll always find real people you know by name and actually care about your finances, not some AI chatbot. They also offer all the modern conveniences you expect, like online and mobile banking, but with a personal touch that only a community bank can offer. So why not settle why would you settle? That's the amazing thing. So why settle for less when you can bank with my friends at North American Banking Company? By the way, I got to mention Bilski again. He does snore through all the commercials, the dog does. So I know you can hear him snoring again, but he snores through all the commercials. Not just yours, Bilski. Visit nabanco.com to learn more. Member FDIC, equal housing lender. We are back, ladies and gentlemen. Kristen Burt with us. What's going on, Kristen?
Well, I just want to mention one thing since we've been talking about the Pope. Anyone who hasn't seen Conclave, this might be the time to watch it. If you watch it today, it's April 21st, you'll have to buy it somewhere on your streaming devices. If you watch it tomorrow on Amazon Prime, it will be free. So you can bookmark that for tomorrow.
Excellent. Kristen Bird Entertainment News brought to you by North American Banking Company. Go to nabanco.com to learn more. Member FDIC, equal housing lender. So the latest.
I'm interested in this, and it's not coming till this summer, but it's on Netflix. Netflix now has a deal with WWE, and they're going to be doing a docuseries, WWE Unreal, and they're actually going to go into the writer's room and show you how the sausage is made. They're basically going to show you that they write all of these storylines for the first time and go behind, like, the wizard behind the curtain on all of this, which is kind of fascinating. And I can't believe that someone finally agreed to this.
You mean World Wrestling?
Yes, WWE.
WWE.
What is it? What is WWE?
Entertainment.
World Wrestling Entertainment, I think.
World Wrestling.
Yep.
Oh, okay.
It was the WWF when I was a kid.
Yep. And then they
Yep,
changed
it
to E.
was.
So I think that's pretty, because how long has it been debated? Is this fake? Is this real? They're finally going to show you that they write all the storylines for anyone who is a doubter.
Hasn't this been known for like 40 years?
You would think so, but they
Well-
always somewhat deny it.
Well, the wrestlers that we've known, they do get
Well,
their
the wrestling is
butts.
real, yeah.
Yeah, that part of it. But the bad guy, good guy, all that
Right.
stuff. Yeah, obviously. I mean, they're not. Just
And what
making that
happens in
stuff
the
up.
ring is plotted out too.
Yeah.
You're not just randomly, it's not like a boxing match where you go in there and just start boxing and see how this plays out. It's choreographed. I think that's the other thing that needs to
Yes.
be understood.
It's real wrestling, but the plot has been determined ahead of time.
Correct.
We all know when guy A is going to body slam guy B.
Yeah.
But the body slam does actually happen. And
It does. And they've got the injuries to prove it.
Yeah.
Oh, God, yes. Yep.
Oh, they sure can.
I used to lift weights with a lot of professional wrestlers, and those guys, that muscle is not fake. I can promise you that.
No.
That muscle is real, and they are incredibly strong.
And the CTE that a lot of wrestlers have suffered,
Oh,
similar
yeah.
to what happens to NFL players, is real. And I think that again, that's going to be another issue as some of our wrestlers get older. You see it happening. It's really sad.
It is indeed. There's no question. Oh, by the way, you might have heard my phone ringing. For the third time this hour, we're getting calls to see if we want to sell our Disney membership.
So,
Our timeshare thing.
Yeah, we have a timeshare Disney membership.
Would you sell it?
No. Oh, Catherine.
Oh, Catherine, that was.
I don't like certain things about it. I really don't. I like the accommodations. And I like the fact that, it's really the only perk that Disney gives to loyal.
Yep.
It's not even a perk. You buy a timeshare,
Right.
but you're not paying, 10 years in the future prices for hotel rooms. That's really the only benefit. You don't get any perks. Oh, I'm
Not
sorry.
really,
There's
no.
a couple. There's a members lounge.
Right.
There's two in Disney World. There's one on top of the ride, Figment, that Imaginarium
Yep.
In Epcot,
building in Epcot. And I don't think that there's one in the Magic Kingdom. And there is another one that is supposed to be just absolutely fantastically wonderful. But you have to queue to get in and all this stuff because people like to watch the fireworks in the Contemporary Hotel.
Oh.
I don't know if there's one in Disneyland. So it's nice, but you go in there and you get to have you get free sodas, and then they've got some very unhealthy snacks and get out of the park for a minute.
Yeah.
I
Out of
don't
the
know
heat.
about that contemporary one because I just, it's just not ever on our plan to go line up and wait for hours and hours for the fireworks to start. That just doesn't sound interesting to
Yeah.
me at all.
Now,
It was
if
good
you
when we-
sold your DVC membership, does our DVC, what is that, timeshare, I guess?
Yeah.
Does it hold its value, unlike, say, if you bought a timeshare in Mexico or something?
I do not know. I would guess it does because they keep building more and more DVC clubs, so
Mhm.
they must have demand for them. But yeah, and I mean, we bought it like 10 years ago, so it's got to be worth something more
Mhm.
now. I mean, just in dollars.
Yeah. Yeah, it was not cheap either. You told me the other day how much it cost?
Well, you pay for points, and you really need like 150 points to actually plan a vacation. And a lot of times we fall short, especially if we're doing 2-3 rooms. And then we got to borrow from the next year, and you got to remember to bank it by July. And I mean, it's just so
Right.
much song and dance crap.
Where do you get the points from?
You buy it at
Okay.
Yeah, you buy points. I think most timeshares are kind of like that because there's like certain weeks where the point it costs more for a room,
Mhm.
so you have to spend more points. So if you go in the middle of the summer, you're probably going to be able to use a lot of points.
Yeah.
But see, when you've got grandkids that are in school, you have to do all this prime time stuff, and it ends up being really crazy expensive.
Yeah.
So
Love
don't
it
know.
though. I love it. I
yeah,
love Disney
I
World.
mean, I guess if you're going to go every year anyway, and then the other thing about Disney, they do have a resort in Vero Beach, Florida that you can use it on, and it's just a beachfront property. It's supposed to be really lovely. You can use it on the cruise lines, but it's basically worth nothing for the cruise lines.
Right.
Can you use
And-
it at Alani in Hawaii?
Yes, you can, but that's basic. Like I said, you'd probably need 5,000 points. It
Okay.
would just be outrageous. And then the other thing is there is an outside. It used to be RCI. It still might be, where you can just do timeshares wherever RCI has them. So there's that, but it's a load of planning, and
Mhm.
just I don't know.
And you're the one doing the planning.
Yeah,
No,
it
Yeah.
was
Yeah.
it was easier to just call a hotel and make a reservation.
Right.
It was.
That's what Tom's
easier.
like. I love it, and Catherine's like, it's so much work because I know
is.
who's doing the planning in this.
Yeah.
There's
Well,
a
yeah.
social media trend going around right now, and where people are on vacation. It's two people. It's usually a couple, and one of them's like, I like planned the trip, and then the other person's like, my name is like Sam. Like, so, and it's just the point of like usually one person in a family bears the burden of planning the entire trip, and the other person's just along for the ride.
Yeah, and then if people don't tell you when they want to go, if you're going with other people, it can just be a nightmare to try and plan a vacation around other people's not telling you when they can go stuff.
Yeah.
So yeah, it's a lot.
Ooh, silence there. No response. That's interesting.
No, it is. I know exactly because
Yeah,
I do
it
all the
is,
planning
yeah.
in our household, so I understand.
One of
I
our
do love
listeners
it.
says Magic Kingdom has a new DVC club where the old Frontier shooting range was just opened
Oh.
last month.
They got rid of the Frontier shooting range.
Apparently,
Andy liked to spend
It's
time
not-
there.
I remember that.
They're changing the whole
they changed. Yeah, they're changing everything.
Frontierland thing
Yeah.
because they changed Splash Mountain into the Tiana ride,
Yep.
Right.
and then they're changing.
Didn't Country Bears Jamboree just?
Yep.
Yeah.
It's gone.
Mhm. It
Wow,
was-
they really are getting.
when we were there last year, they were like, "This is closing in like 2
that's
more
right.
weeks or something like that." They were
I
like,
mean,
"It's-"
Country Bear Jamboree was pretty janky even
It
in the
was great.
90s. So it's
But you know what, though?
It
There
was-
was something great about it, though, at the
Oh,
same
yeah.
time.
Oh,
Like, it was
yeah.
so
Absolutely.
corny, but also when you're there in July and
Yep.
you're like, I just need to sit for 15 minutes.
In an air
There was
conditioned
nothing better
room.
than the Country Bears Jamboree or the Tiki Hut. Do you guys have Tiki Hut in the
Yep.
Tiki Birds?
Tiki
Mhm.
Yeah, they keep
I-
on threatening to get rid of that.
Yeah.
but I
No,
don't
but
think
when
they're
you need it. When you're like, I am so exhausted and hot, I'm gonna sit and listen to those screeching birds.
Yes.
15 minutes.
That's what we
It's
always do. And
amazing.
it's like dark and
Yep.
cool. I mean, there's screaming and loud, but it's just like, I'm just going to sit in this dark room.
gonna. Yeah.
10 minutes.
And you're the happiest because you're like, I don't want to go back outside right now. There's a purpose for these annoying features.
Looks like Big Thunder Mountain closed January 6th, and it's going to come back next year.
Oh, it is.
It's coming
So-
back.
It's coming back as well. They say with a little bit of new magic in 2026. Wherever.
Oh, new magic.
That could mean
New
a lot of things.
magic.
But yeah, I thought
Oh.
it was going to be the Tiana ride.
No,
That
the
was Splash.
Mountain.
That was Splash Mountain.
Right.
Yeah. And
That's
that's
surprising. Isn't Splash Mountain? Wasn't that like one of the big ones?
Yes, but it's going to be essentially the same
Splash
ride.
Mountain,
we
but-
have it in Disneyland open as Tiana's ride already. Because they wanted to get rid of Song of the South.
Oh,
Because
yeah.
yeah,
Yep.
that's why. Because that's where it was from.
Yes.
That's too bad.
It's
I like Song of the
Tiana's-
South.
It's going to be Tiana's Bayou Adventure now.
Yes.
Oh wait, it already is.
I would say I think it's open now. I think it
Yeah.
opened.
It opened in June 2024,
Yes.
out in California, and
Yep.
November 2024. Wait, no, actually, no, it opened in Magic Kingdom first.
Okay.
June in the Magic Kingdom, November in Disneyland. So,
Okay.
There you have it. I still love it. I've loved going there since 1976, the first time I ever went. Very, very happy about that. And as a matter of fact, I have a birthday coming up, not this year, but next year. And I'm going to drag everybody in my family and their kids and everybody else to go spend a 3-day weekend at the Magic
Catherine knows
Kingdom.
she has to start planning.
I'm going to have to start buying vacation points now. It's going to cost $100,000.
Probably will. It probably will. But I tell you honestly, you go to it's kind of sad in some ways because you see things that, well, actually Universal is making a lot of changes because all of their rides are basically the same ride.
Yeah.
They're kind of like the fake roller coaster ride kind of deal.
Simulator. Yeah.
The
Yeah, I mean-
simulator.
Universal, though, they are making, I know we've talked about this, they're making a serious run for Disney and they're
Yep.
doing some fan nights, kind of like leaning into some of their like Back to the Future, some of those properties that are kind of legacy properties, they're monsters and everything. And they're doing a fan night and it's from out here in Los Angeles. It's from 7 p.m. until 2 a.m.
Oh.
$75. $75.
Oh, wow.
Jesus.
With exclusive food, exclusive, character meet and greets, exclusive pop-ups. The rides are open. And that's the way to do it because people right now are saying, I can't spend $200 to go to Disneyland for the day. So
Yeah.
it's really interesting how Universal is leaning in heavily into, we'll show you we're better than Disneyland.
Well, and also I feel like Universal, you don't even have to be a ride junkie. There's a lot of stuff.
A lot of stuff
There.
to do. Yeah,
I
that's
don't really
true.
like rides, and yeah, I liked Universal the best of any place we went. I think.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, just
It's
all that
just a lot to look
interactive
at.
Harry.
I like it the least.
Yeah.
All
Harry
that in-
Potter, the movie studio tram ride. I mean, if you do that, and I know with this particular fan experience, you're allowed to actually get off the tram, which normally does not happen. And then you go
Oh.
to explore Back to the Future Square, where all of like some of the locations were filmed on the Universal lot. So I definitely think that they're just trying to think outside the box and go, what can we offer that Disney cannot?
All right, we
Oh.
have an update from the audience. Country Bear Jamboree is still there. They
Oh.
closed it, but they did it so they could de-jank it.
Oh,
it's
they
called the
updated it?
Country Bear Musical Jamboree.
Oh.
Somehow better.
I would love to know what's different about it.
I wonder. Let's
Well, I'm
see.
going to start a GoFundMe page, and anybody that wants to get rid of their DVC vacation points can send them to
Donate.
for
There you
Tom's
go.
big birthday.
Well, speaking of which,
Yep.
another person said Alani, they had 300 points and they stayed there for 2 weeks on those.
300 points?
Really?
Yep.
Was that off season? Was that like
That's
a
a lot of
hurricane
points.
season?
Yeah. Were you going there like in the middle of July or something? I wonder.
I wonder if it's really nice. I bet it's nice.
I've had friends stay at Alani and they've really enjoyed it. Have you tried the Disney cruises at all?
Well,
No,
yeah.
no.
We did.
We did.
Once.
We
It's a
did
long
when the
time
kids
ago.
were very small,
Oh,
and it
that's
was a
right. Yeah.
horrible
Mhm.
boat, and it was a horrible.
But not the
experience.
current version
No, not
where
the
like
current
the Disney
version.
Wish, because I've had
No.
friends that say that they are amazing.
I'm sure they are, because
Yeah.
these were little tugboats from hell, and they
Yeah.
were awful.
It was
Yeah.
They used to
little
do the
red
big
boat.
red boat.
Big
Yeah.
red boat.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yes, we did
Ugh,
that, and it was
God,
I
that
did
was
the big red boat too. I have not done, but I've heard Disney Wish is extraordinary.
It's better.
As a matter of fact, that Disney cruise turned me off from cruises for quite some time.
Understood. I'm not much of a cruise person. I don't like a day
No.
at sea. I
Nope.
want to be on land. I want to be experiencing, like if you're going to islands or you're going to another country, I want to be experiencing the country, not the boat.
I don't know. It's like if I want to sit in my room and drink rum, I can do that already.
Well,
I
there's
don't need to
two
be on a boat to do that.
there's two different types of cruises. There's destination cruises, where you go to some place like
Right.
the Mediterranean, so all of your ports are very close, or the Baltic Sea one. You maybe out of 7-8 days you have a day at sea. Most of the time it's just like country after country after country.
Right.
Sometimes you get after 4 days you're like, I've been how many? Where have I been?
The
'Cause
listener
it's
who
all
went to
so fast.
Awani was there in March.
Okay.
So, I don't know. That's a
Oh.
good time to go to Hawaii.
That seems like
right?
a high time with
Yeah.
because a lot of Californians go to Hawaii for spring break.
Yeah. So I don't
300
know.
points is a
300
lot of
points for
points,
2
though.
weeks. There you go. Well, for 2 weeks though, that's a long time.
That is.
Although I
Yeah,
wouldn't
you're
want to go
right.
to Hawaii for under 2 weeks. I don't think that's a long flight.
It is. It's a long way. And speaking of so long, Kristen has to go. Unfortunately,
Mhm.
Kristen Bird Entertainment News brought to you by North American Bank. Go to nabankco.com to learn more. Member FDIC, equal housing lender. On the way out, I have to tell you, Kristen Burt, there was one ride at Universal. It made me very, very sad. What's the one again with the kids flying through the air? And what is that?
E.T.?
E.T. Oh,
Oh,
God, is
yeah.
that sad? Oh,
Sad.
It's
Yeah.
maybe ready for a little refresh.
yes. It's
Oh.
just really, it's like, ooh, we got 3 inches off the ground.
Yeah.
Why haven't they redone it in E.T.?
I don't know.
That was such a popular, great movie.
It was.
Yep.
I don't feel like kids watch ET either.
No.
That's
No,
the
they
other thing.
don't.
That is a property like Universal should honestly lean into and bring back somehow, and then also
agree.
do
Yep.
the ride along with it.
Yeah.
All right. Well, we'll talk to you tomorrow.
Yes, see you all tomorrow.
Sounds great. Thank you.
Bye.
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 We'll take a break. Be right back in a couple minutes. Let's talk about my bank, North American Banking Company. Look, it's easy to feel like just another account number at the big national banks, but that's not how it works with my friends at North American Banking Company. Whether you're visiting their locations in Roseville, 50th in France, Hastings, Woodbury, Shoreview, or Maple Grove, you'll always find real people who know you by name and actually care about your finances, not some AI chatbot. They also offer all the modern conveniences you expect, like online and mobile banking, but with a personal touch that only a community bank can offer. So why settle for less when you can bank with my friends at North American Banking Company? Visit nabankco.com to learn more. Member FDIC, equal housing lender. Does thinking about retirement make you uncomfortable? Sometimes the anxiety for wondering if you saved enough can be overwhelming. But what if I told you that you could ease those tensions in just 48 minutes? My guy, Josh Arnold, Mr. Money Talk, can sit down with you and get you on the right track for your financial future. Josh has navigated it all when it comes to uncertain market and economic conditions, and he'll always provide straight talk. Never sugar-coated advice on how to reach the finish line with your retirement goals. Don't let your financial worries give you an ulcer or keep you from calling Josh right now. His 48-minute no-obligation consultation could be just what you need to feel better about your future. Call Josh today at 952-925-5608. Set up your free 48-minute no-obligation consultation. That's 952-925-5608. Investment services offered by Josh Arnold Investment Consultant, LLC Security Investment Advisor. Past performance is no guarantee of future results. All investments must involve risk. You know that. All comments and opinions of Josh Arnold's do not constitute investment advice. I am a paid endorser. Ladies and gentlemen, Kristen Burt, of course, brought to you by my buddies. You know, you got Josh Arnold, you got Michael Bryant bringing you Bob Sansevier. Bob Sansevier Sports brought to you by Bradshaw and Bryant, personal injury lawyers seeking justice for the injured. Contact Bradshaw and Bryant at minnesotapersonalinjury.com. So, Sandy, you're joining us just in time to we were just taking a look at Disney because, I don't know, we were just there. We had a really good, I had a good time. You had a good time.
Well, we
didn't
were
you?
we went to Epcot and we went to Universal.
Yeah, Epcot and Universal this time we went. And it was a great time. You've been there recently, Bob?
No, it has been years since we've been there. Many,
So
many
kids-
years.
You kids just too old now?
No, not too old, but I mean, honestly, and I think you could speak to this, having had a farm yourself with horses. It's tough to get away.
Yeah, that is true.
Very hard to get
It
away.
is.
How old is your youngest?
She'll be 16 next month.
I mean, that is kind of when they stop caring about that sort of thing too. So
She would like.
Yeah.
I mean, honestly, I don't think it matters what age you are if you go to Disney. Now, does Disney have any piece of Epcot and Universal, or they're completely separate?
Completely separate.
Epcot is a Disney property.
yeah, Epcot's
It is.
Disney,
It is,
but
yeah.
Universal's a different park.
Oh, I thought you meant Universal. Yeah.
Okay. And how big is Universal? Can you fit 5 Universals in one Disney World, or how
Well,
big is it? Big in
now with
itself?
well, they just opened a new park, or are opening it this month, called Epic Universal. So I
Oh,
don't
right,
know
yeah.
if that makes them larger than the Disney property
Oh.
or not.
Oh, wow.
I like
Yeah,
them
I mean,
both. To be honest with you, I like both of them.
Neither. I mean, you don't care which one you go to. Are they both as expensive? Is Disney still much more than anywhere else?
No, Universal's cheaper for sure.
Oh,
And
yeah.
also, the other nice thing about Universal is if you stay in one of their properties, they have like 4 that are, maybe more, that are attached to Universal. You get free fast passes. So you get to get
Oh.
on all of the rides, and it's not like Disney parsons them. It's just, it's so dumb.
Well,
You
how
get like
far-
4, you pay extra for Disney, and you can only use 1 in the morning and then 3 in the afternoon, and all of this. Once again, it's always just tap dancing around with the Disney stuff. But at Universal, it's just, you just get to use it as many times as you want. You want to go to 100 rides, you can go
Oh.
100 rides. It's just unbelievable.
Are they miles apart, or are they very close? How close are they to each other?
You know, the Epic stuff, I have no. Did you see the entrances to anything else? It's got to
no.
be connected. And they have
Yeah.
trams or something.
So
they
you
have a
can get
train.
through both. You can get from one to the other.
Yeah,
Universal
they,
and
yeah, they have.
Disney.
Yeah, they have a
Yeah,
train
that's
that
pretty
takes you
good.
from one to the other. And then in Magic Kingdom, you can do Magic Kingdom and Epcot through the monorail.
Oh, well, and
Yeah.
that does sound pretty. Can you do it in a weekend, or do you need a week to see it
Oh
all?
boy.
So all of
Weekend
it,
night.
you need a week to see all of it. Yes.
Wow.
I
absolutely.
would say so. Yeah.
Yeah, if
mean,
you're going
let's
to take
sort of go
days
like-
off.
Yeah. I mean, if you want to rush through it, but then that's not fun.
Yeah.
The one thing I found very interesting is Grand Floridian, which is Epcot. It's beautiful, just a stunningly beautiful hotel. Very, very nice, no question. Then we went over to the Hard Rock because we're going to go to Universal, which is another beautiful hotel. They do a great job and all the rest of it. But that's where all the kids stay now, which I
The Hard
found.
Rock?
Yeah, the Hard Rock.
Oh,
And I
wow.
thought, what is that all?
Cheaper, I'm
Well,
assuming.
I just think that all of the parks just have a lot of kids.
Well, I didn't see a lot at the Grand.
Tire Carver says Epic is about 3 miles away from the other 2 parks.
Yeah,
It's about 3
right.
miles
yeah.
away.
You
Yeah.
wouldn't have been near it. Yeah.
So you would have had to take that train.
Yeah.
Remember, that woman was, she was dressed in some old timey costume, and we were like, "What are you trying to tell people to do?" And she said, "This is the train that takes you to all of the other,"
Oh, yeah.
and it was kind of hidden away. And then inside of that, I said, "Let's go in and see if this train station is something like, like Grand Central or something."
Mhm.
And we went in there, and it was a Harry Potter world that we
Right,
didn't even
yeah,
know
yep.
about.
You know when I'll get there, when that blessed day comes, if I ever have grandchildren, I'll be, bring me to the soup stand. Because I won't have any teeth left. I need soup.
It's still a great look. I went for the first time in 1976. I think it was 75 or 76. Absolutely loved it. And now 50 years later or 49 years later, whatever it is, I loved it as much as I ever have. We didn't go to the Magic Kingdom, which of course I love, and it's wonderful. No matter where you go, you get taken care of. The food is really good. Nobody acts like a pain in the ass, which is really nice. They don't put up with that stuff there at those parks,
No.
which I think is great.
Well, the last time I went, Tom, I was working at the Asbury Park Press, and I went with 2 friends to go to Florida, and we
Mhm.
made that part of the trip. And the entire way down, this friend had like, it was some old, I think it was an old Volkswagen. There was a hole in the back, by the back seat, all the fumes came up because he had a hole in his exhaust too.
Mhm.
And
Yep.
we pulled over in like somewhere near Jacksonville. I blew my nose and a lot of black soot came out.
Oh my
Ugh.
Oh, it was horrible. And then we drove through Virginia in a driving blizzard. So we had because we had to keep the windows closed, and that was a mistake. With those fumes coming up. So might have been the only time I had anything close to a headache was that drive.
Magnificent.
We another listener gave us a little hint at why maybe all those kids stay at the Hard Rock. Apparently, if you stay at the Hard Rock, your room key doubles as your express pass.
Yes.
Oh, there
One
you
less
go.
thing to worry about, I guess.
Oh, only at the Hard Rock?
Apparently,
Oh.
maybe
Smart.
some of the other ones, but for sure at the Hard Rock. And that would be nice. Although if you
Yeah,
lose that
yeah.
thing, that's a bad time.
Yeah, if you lose that thing, you're in trouble. Because I remember we only stayed one night, so checkout was like 11. And I'm like, we're just going to be in the parks. They can just check us out. I don't care.
Right.
And then I thought, oh, I wonder if the key stops working for the room, will it stop working for the
No.
Pass.
Oh, good question.
but it worked all day. So
Oh, okay.
No, really, really good time. And by the way, Bob, at
Yeah.
the Hard Rock, Alex got to go.
No, I don't have to go. Say
Oh, the kids just came in. Okay.
lingering over my shoulder.
They're lingering.
they want to see themselves on camera. She doesn't want them on camera.
No, I understand that. I do understand that. No question about it. But one thing about it, Bob, that you're going to really like, you go to the Hard Rock, there's a place on the first floor called The Kitchen. It's a
Yeah.
restaurant. Some phenomenal Italian food. My God, their Italian food there is fantastic.
You would
Really
think Hard Rock would be for Italian food.
Yeah, I'm telling you, we loved staying at the Hard Rock. It was very nice and quiet. Even though all those kids were there, it was very nice and quiet.
So
Yeah, and you-
did you go to a regular restaurant, and what was the big memorabilia pieces that they had there from movies or from rock concerts?
All the bands, guitars and
there's so
drumsticks and
much.
that kind of stuff. There's so much you can't even name it all. It's something from everyone, no question about it.
yeah.
The thing and I think it was in the Mall of America still have the Hard Rock, or they shut that down. I have no idea.
I don't know.
I don't know.
Let's see.
Well,
No,
I'll explain.
They shut
It's
it
not
down
that- okay.
4 years ago, it looks like.
Well,
Really?
I think it was that. I've been in a number of them, and my most impressive one was they had the suit that James Cagney wore in
Oh.
Yankee Doodle Dandy. It
Yep.
looked like a leprechaun suit because he was only
So
like
small.
5'1".
Yeah,
It was
he's
incredible
tiny.
how what size it
Yep.
was. It looked like a kid in grade school would wear. A small kid in grade school would wear it.
Yeah, I think they had
No,
a
true.
dress for Deborah Harry. They had some. I don't remember all of it. There's just. I mean, everywhere you go, there's something. Even
Yeah.
in your hotel room, the mirror has notch marks and the name of celebrities, how tall they are.
Yes.
Oh,
Yeah,
interesting.
it's just they and the chandeliers are upside down drum sets. They just
Yep.
have a ton of stuff.
Yep,
You
it's
just
great.
yeah.
It's a
fun place.
really nice place to stay. Really
Yeah.
nice.
It is.
Well. We'll
I
give
don't-
it a go.
Yeah, I don't
So-
know if Universal does the whole like Disney Vacation Club thing
Well,
with their
I don't know.
hotels. I don't
This
know.
will give you an idea of the last vacation. Mary and I went on a vacation last weekend. We went to Brookings, South Dakota. We went Thursday morning because my son had his rodeo banquet that night. And then we were there Thursday, Friday, Saturday. That's the first 3-day weekend we have had away from the farm since we had a farm to
Where
get
is
away for 3
Brookings?
days.
Exactly.
Brookings is in South Dakota. It's
Yeah,
a hellish
I mean-
ride because it's 3.5 hours from where we live and is not a highway to be found. It's all 90% or more is 2-lane roads.
Is it on the
Oh.
north side of South
No,
Dakota?
it's kind of if you went from where we are, you got to go north a little bit. Yeah, it's more north. It's an hour north or about an hour north of Sioux Falls.
Oh,
So
okay.
it might be the center of the state for them.
Oh yeah. Yep.
But you got to
Okay.
go west and a little north from where we are, and it's just it's a horrible drive.
Is it a very big town?
It is. Everything is built around the university. I mean,
Oh, okay.
everything is within a mile or two of the university. So at
Okay.
least they laid it out nicely for that. That was
No
nice.
doubt. Why don't we take a break here? When we come back, Bob, we're going to have to make you suffer, unfortunately.
Oh, you'll suffer more than me because I don't become fans of these teams.
I can't take it anymore. The Twins are the worst they have ever been.
Third
My-
worst in baseball.
Third worst in baseball. I'm surprised they're not the worst.
Well, we were.
I try and watch them.
Give it time.
Well, we'll be right back. We'll talk some Twins right after this, ladies and gentlemen. Bob Sansevier. For Bradshaw and Bryant, Michael Bryant. Michael, what's up?
Dealing with another case where a person gave a statement to the adjuster because they thought the person was really friendly.
Is that a good idea?
Well, the problem is they know the law when they call you up. And while you're trying to be fair and you're trying to get help, the reality is there are questions you get asked that the way you answer them make a big difference. And people put themselves in trouble. And when they aren't in trouble, they didn't do anything wrong, but suddenly the adjuster's got a statement that can blow up their case completely.
What has caused people to be so untrustworthy, I guess is the best way I could put it? They take advantage.
Well, insurance companies have hired adjusters whose job it is to deal with unrepresented people. So they're supposed to kind of lure them in, call them every day, see how they're doing. And people are like, oh, I'm doing pretty good. Where the reality is they've kind of adjusted to their problem that they've got going on. So it's not that they're completely better, but the way they say it gets to be a problem. And that's why having somebody who can explain your rights, represent you, make sure that you understand the law before you give a statement can make a big difference in your case.
Michael Bryant, Bradshaw and Bryant. South Dakota, one of the most business-friendly states in the country. And there's no better place to settle down and take advantage of those incentives than in Sioux Falls, South Dakota. We're just talking about that. Brookings a little north of it, but Sioux Falls is what we're talking about here. As the state's largest city with a metro population of over 290,000, Sioux Falls has low business costs with a high quality of life. There's no state, corporate, or personal income tax, no inheritance tax, and no limits to what your business can achieve. Sioux Falls, South Dakota was recently ranked the #1 best small city for business and careers by Forbes, the #2 best state business tax climate by the Tax Foundation, and the #5 top state for e-commerce by Nexus. As one of the Midwest's fastest growing cities, Sioux Falls has a robust growing job market. No matter where you're at in your career, they have an opportunity waiting for you. Our city's tax-friendly climate and strong workforce don't go unrecognized. Forbes named Sioux Falls one of the top small cities for business and careers each of the last 15 years. In 2020, Sioux Falls also ranked as the #4 best city for young professionals. Matter of fact, Minneapolis-St. Paul lost a lot of residents to that area because of that very thing. Sioux Falls also ranked as the #4 best city for young professionals. How does South Dakota stack up against other states? Well, they rank second in the nation for the lowest cost of doing business, the most business-friendly state, and the best business tax climate. And as South Dakota's biggest city, Sioux Falls is at the center of these benefits. So now is the perfect time to make your move to Sioux Falls. Visit SiouxFallsDevelopment.com. Does thinking about retirement make you uncomfortable? Sometimes the anxiety for wondering if you saved enough can be overwhelming. But what if I told you that you could ease those tensions in just 48 minutes? My guy, Josh Arnold, Mr. Money Talk, can sit down with you and get you on the right track for your financial future. Josh has navigated it all when it comes to uncertain market and economic conditions, and he'll always provide straight talk. Never sugar-coated advice on how to reach the finish line with your retirement goals. Don't let your financial worries give you an ulcer or keep you from calling Josh right now. His 48-minute no-obligation consultation could be just what you need to feel better about your future. Call Josh today at 952-925-5608. Set up your free 48-minute no-obligation consultation. That's 952-925-5608. Investment services offered by Josh Arnold Investment Consultant, LLC Security Investment Advisor. Past performance is no guarantee of future results. All investments must involve risk. You know that. All comments and opinions of Josh Arnold do not constitute investment advice. I am a paid endorser. Ladies and gentlemen, Bob Sansevier Sports brought to you by Bradshaw and Bryant, personal injury lawyer seeking justice for the injured. Contact Bradshaw and Bryant at MinnesotaPersonalInjury.com. Was Alex yelling at the kids? What's she doing?
No, that wasn't Alec. I don't know
That
what.
was my phone. Sorry.
Oh, it was your phone.
Something popped up. I didn't have the volume off.
Nice.
I had the phone turned off, but I mean, the ringer.
Catherine. Way to go.
Sorry. So sorry.
So, Bob, as you know, there is no bigger Minnesota Twins fan on earth than your boy. Matter of fact, I still get credit for calling the 1987 World Series, the very first time the Twins won the World Series. And I remember sitting on the Stretch and Z show, and several several Twins were there on site, including Gary Gaetti and Kent Herbeck. And Gaetti said, "How did you know we were going to win the World Series?" And I said, "Well, to start off, I always think you're going to win the World Series every year." But the youth on that team, the Timmy Laudners, the Herbecks, the Gaettis, and there are many, many more people I could bring up.
Well, Puckett,
definitely. I mean, no question about it. One of the greats of all time. Bob, this team is horrendous. It's the worst team I've ever seen.
Almost as bad a week as the Pope had a weekend.
Yeah, it's not good. You lost your Pope, Bob. I lost my Pope.
I tell you what, I will say this about him. He gave a sermon yesterday and got through Easter.
Yeah.
And, so I give him credit for that, what he did. And he's been in ill health for a while.
Yeah, he sure has. He's been on death watch for 3-4 months.
February 14th, I think he went into the hospital.
Yeah.
Oh, really?
And he's been like that now or since then. And, they'll come up with what they got to do, though, is maybe they should name someone who's not pushing 70 or 80.
Yeah,
or 80.
seriously. I wonder what the youngest pope ever was. Let's see.
That's a good when they started. Back in the day, there would have been, when I say the day, Middle Ages.
Benedict the Ninth was only 20 years old when he was first elected.
Wow, that seems
Benedict?
really young.
He was also born in the year 1012. So
Oh, there you go.
Back
Okay.
then, they lived to 25.
Yeah.
They only lived to 25 anyway.
since then.
He
Good
was
point.
middle-aged. So that was a problem for them.
That is
Yeah,
good.
he died at 43. So there you go.
The Twins go into Atlanta, which was a worse team with a worse record when they went in. Now they got a better record because they swept your Twins.
They swept the Twins. Atlanta is horrendous, and they swept the Twins. I couldn't believe it.
Yeah, the only teams worse are Colorado and the White Sox. So there's your silver lining. They're not in last place in the AL Central.
But Bob, didn't the White Sox take 2 out of 3 from them too when they were in Chicago?
Well, and then I think the White Sox are coming off a win as well, or Colorado is. They had a win just the other day, so it's just bad. And they're kind of, they get back Pablo Lopez. Okay, even if he were to win every game because he pitches every 5th game or day, he's not going to make any difference. This team is in bad straits, and you know what? You trace it right to ownership because they cut salary. They didn't want to spend money, and that's the most amazing thing. Joe Pohlad is, he's running the club now. He wants. If they sell it, he wants to stay with the team and in charge. Are you out of your mind? You ran it into the ground.
Yeah, it's really unfortunate. And, he didn't really run in the ground by himself. They decided they didn't want to be in the baseball business anymore.
Where did that decision come from? It came from the Pohlads.
Well, it did. There's no question about that. There's no doubt about that.
So, I mean, if he was running the captain of the Titanic, he would have hit 2 icebergs.
It breaks my heart, Bob, because like I said, my awakening to the wonderful world was at 9 years old in 1961, I think it was.
When they came here, right?
Yeah, when they came here, I sat in the outfield and left field, and the whole place just lit up as it got darker and darker. And I thought, this is heaven. I have been a huge Twins fan since 1961, which is a few years ago.
Yeah.
Let's be honest. So to see them go through this, and win 2 World Series when I started my career at the Q. That was amazing that, those 2 World Series victories in 87 and 91. And I tried, Catherine knows, I can't even watch the whole games anymore. I still tune into every game, but I just can't watch it. They're terrible.
Tom, you know what's most frightening about this?
What?
Do the math, 91 to now. How many decades?
You're
You're like 3.5 decades.
Yep, almost. Next year,
almost 4 decades with the first win in 87.
Yep.
It's staggeringly sad.
They just don't care. They don't care anymore. And it looked like they were going to sell a team, and then those buyers bought a part of another team in Chicago, maybe.
I think we got more involved with the ownership group there because they're putting first of all, if you're looking for a team, do you want to take one that's already $400 million in debt?
Well, now how did that happen, Bob? That was my next question. How do you get $450 million in debt when you're a multi-billionaire family?
Well, because you're no longer putting your own money into it, and they did, and many Major League Baseball teams had issues with TV deals the last few years.
They did. Yes.
But people aren't going. But why aren't they going? It's not because Minneapolis is a crap hole.
No,
it's because they're not winning.
Yes.
That's why. I mean, I think if you were to say and Minneapolis has issues, but you go into those 2 ramps, right adjacent to it, and you're relatively safe. If you're not staying late and wandering in at 1 or 2 o'clock in the morning when it's only you in the ramp.
Right.
So, I mean, it's easy to get off, from every direction. You can easily get into those ramps. There's the excuses. There's no excuse except they suck and you don't want to spend the money. Why would you?
Dreadful. I mean, is there one good player on that team? I mean, good, yes. Is there one great player on the team?
Well, and then you have to compare them, but Byron Buxton compared to Royce Lewis is the
Ugh.
Iron Man.
Byron Buxton gets hurt every year.
Well, but again, you compare him now to he looks
Yeah.
good compared
Right.
to Royce Lewis.
Right.
This poor guy.
Yeah,
You know, but it's incredible. I don't, Tom, I don't know what is wrong, why so many of these guys get hurt. It's easy. Well, they must need a new trainer. No, I don't think it's that. There's got to be something going on, though, why they keep getting guys hurt. And Buxton, 2 for 5, he's batting a lusty 244. Can't even get it out.
244.
At least he's over 200. That Correa, 1 for 4, up to the 194. I mean, that's the problem. Their star players are not hitting.
No.
And that's a little problematic.
What's
And
a
they're not
good
stars.
batting average? I guess just like over .333.
Well, 300 is pretty good.
That's pretty good. I mean, you get in the
300 is pretty good.
270 plus. If you got guys,
Yeah.
everybody on your team is 270 plus, you should be okay.
Exactly.
But
And-
they're not.
But the thing about it is, and I'd like to point this out as well, is the people of Minnesota stepped up and built them a beautiful baseball stadium. It's gorgeous, that thing is. So we, as the taxpayers, stepped up and paid for this stadium, and I love going to that stadium, except I can't go there because the Twins play there. I can't take it anymore. I love that Twins. Since I was 9 years old, I've loved that Twins team. And 87, 91 was unbelievable. But honest to God, the last 34 years, they have been dreadful.
Well, I mean, they are the one team in town that really is not spending the money to try
No,
to
they
make
won't.
themselves better. The Wolves have. I think they've stepped up with it. The Wild, and certainly the Vikings. I mean, you cannot
Mhm.
criticize the Wolves for being skimpy or cheap on this. They've really spent money when it needs to be spent.
Yeah. I mean, Alex, you have little kids. I know you go to basketball games. Do you go to the baseball games?
We took them to one last summer.
There you go. One last summer.
But I'm like, neither Dan nor I is a really big baseball fan.
God, that's too bad.
And
How could you not be a big baseball fan with me as your father? You didn't pay attention when I said? Is that what you're
didn't
saying?
really care that much about baseball.
Well, you were
I
more
was-
psycho
No.
about football in
Yes.
the early
Yeah.
years.
And
When they
golf.
were growing up, you were.
Oh, golf too. Yeah, that's
Yeah.
true.
Yep.
Yeah,
I
those
don't
were,
I don't
like, the two.
ever I mean, I remember baseball being like a presence in, our
yeah,
house.
kind of.
Oh,
yeah.
God,
like-
yes.
Yeah, but football or basketball and hockey, I know I don't have a single memory of, except for going to see
No.
the Harlem Globetrotters.
Yeah.
Globetrotters were fun.
So
Yeah,
we
they
did
were
do
fun.
that, but yeah, other than that, I mean, I think we saw the Wild once, maybe
Yeah, we
twice.
didn't really
but
do much with the Wilds.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You know what? That's why I'm sorry. That's one of my failings as a parent, because I would be at all these. I didn't want to take my kids because it was work to me to go to a game.
Yeah, that's
That's
true.
how I
it
knew it.
is a lot of work.
It's like going downtown and
Yep.
parking and then walking
No.
downtown and like
No, I don't mean that. I mean, when I went to a game, I was working.
Oh,
Yeah.
literally
Right.
work.
Right.
Okay.
So it's like if you're a plumber, you want to go home and work on the pipes. No,
Yeah.
I didn't want to go to another game when I was not working at a game.
Yeah, that's
No.
fair.
Catherine can tell you that this is a fact. My by far best memory of the National Hockey League was back in the days when the North Stars were in town. They're now the Dallas Stars, that backstabbing sons of bitches. But in any case, Catherine and I are invited to go to the luxury suite upstairs at that's the old stadium we're talking
Norm
about.
Green.
Now, before Norm Green.
Oh,
It was before Norm Green even. And the guy who was running the show was, of course, a nice Italian boy from, what's the name of that town he's from? Louis Nanny. What's that town he's from again? Lou from the Sioux.
Oh, Sue.
Sault Ste. Marie.
Sault Ste. Marie. Yeah.
Sault Ste. Marie. Lou from the Sioux. And this is why it's such a great memory. Because we were there with the general manager and president of Musicland, which used to be a big deal, right?
yeah.
Mhm.
So I'm sitting watching it, and Louis is sitting between the wife of the president and general manager of Musicland, and I'm sitting on her other side, and Louis leaning over talking to me, and I see him, he's moving his eyes. He's trying to catch, what's going on the ice while he's talking to the two of us. All of a sudden, I see him, he leans way up. Obviously, there's a breakaway. So I look down at the ice. This guy winds up, shoots, it hits the pipe, And I will never forget this. Louis was so into that team, the North Stars, that he goes, F. Right. He's about a, and only he didn't say just the F. He had put the UCK part in there too. But I didn't want to say that because the kids are in there with Alex. So I, probably didn't want to do that. But I will never forget. And then we have dinner. And Lou from the Sioux, my kind of guy, came from the same basically kind of neighborhood that I did. We're having pork chops. And Louis picks up the pork bone and starts sucking the marrow out of the pork bone.
A lot of people do that.
I will never forget that as long as I live. Do they really? They still do that?
Yeah, they break it apart and suck the marrow out. They say it's great. The idea just is gross to me.
Like, ugh.
Yes.
Yeah. I don't know. I mean, I don't know.
God.
There's a very obvious double standard. You're like, I'm willing to eat the flesh of the animal, but not the marrow.
Yeah, there you go.
I don't know. Something about sucking marrow out of bones. This doesn't feel right.
Yeah, it's true. But I mean, my memories of these teams, those are my favorite hockey memories, is when Lou Nanny was the president of the team. It was so much fun. Yeah, sucking marrow out of the bone, all the rest of it. Basketball was not a big thing when I was a little kid because I believe the same year the Twins came to town, the Lakers left.
Yep, it was about that time.
60, 61, somewhere in there. So, I mean, everybody in town when I was at the time 8 years old hated basketball. And the Gopher basketball team was good, but they were never that good. So that team was hated by people for moving. And they kept the name Lakers too. That's the other thing.
Bizarre that they
was bizarre. They kept the name. So, I mean, that's why, now they got a basketball team, but they've never won a damn thing. So that's kind of hard to watch. So look at what you got. You got your Vikings, and, they need to get better. But you got your Twins, and they're terrible. They might be the worst I've ever seen them. You think?
I don't know.
That covers some ground. They're pathetic.
It does.
Let's see.
Right now, I mean, yeah, it's still April, but let's see what happens in another month, how pathetic they might be or how bad.
Oh, could be worse.
Well, the Twins had 8 straight losing seasons from 93 to 2000. That was pretty bad.
Yeah, but there's a losing season and there's a losing just about every game season.
That's true.
That's very true.
Let's see. What's the worst Twins record of all time? 82, 60 to 102.
60 and 102. And that's an 82, you said?
Winning percentage in 82, yep.
Oh, God. Why, Twins? Why do you do it to me?
There couldn't have been anybody from that team still around in 87, or was there?
I don't think so.
Oh, in 2016, though, they lost the most games ever, 103.
They lost 103 games.
103 games in 2016, so...
Is that when they got rid of Louis? They probably kicked Louis out the door and lost their ass because Louis wasn't there. Louis was great. I love dealing with Louis in hockey.
It was a 59-103 record in 2016,
God.
So that is their worst record right there.
Not great.
That's right.
So, would that have been just before they moved to Dallas?
No, he's talking about the Twins record, right?
Yeah.
Well, that's right. You're talking about the Twins record. Yeah, you're right. I forgot about that. So, yes, basically. I can't even listen to the Twins losing 103 games in one season.
A lot of games.
Let it settle in my brain. I can't even accept that because I do love them. I do understand. Do you think the Vikings are going to be good this year, Bob?
You know what? I want to see what he does in the draft, and that won't be the determining factor. But there's one glaring spot they have not addressed in free agency, and that's left guard. Now, Kwesi Adolfo-Mensah, there's got to be other people on that team that are saying, it might be the coaches dictating who to go after in free agency. Because you say Kwesi Adolfo-Mensah, GM, he should be in charge of all of it. In free agency, they're A's, right? A's in free agency the last 2 years. In drafts, they've been abysmal, and that's what he supposedly covers too. He likely will trade the 24th pick because they only have 4 picks total. But if there's a really good player there, if you have a starter grade on him, you have to take that player, and I don't think he will. But he's had miserable drafts.
The first sports morning show in this market in Minneapolis, St. Paul was the KQ Morning Show. I mean, it turned into a sports show. There's no question about that. And I remember, and you were there, Bob, and I miss it horribly because he died in a car accident. But when
Huffman.
Dave Huffman used to come in and do the show with us, talking about the Vikings, all the rest of it. But the day that was my favorite, his team, Notre Dame, won the national championship. Were you there that day?
I don't remember what year was it. Would that have been? And then was it in the
Long
early
time
'90s
ago.
or late '80s?
Probably. Yeah, I don't know. It was that era though. But I'll never forget.
Was he on the Vikings at the time?
Huffman was, yeah.
He was.
Well, yeah.
Well, he was, and then he retired while still on the show.
Yes,
Did he not?
did.
Yeah.
Well, he was on the Vikings roster 79 to 83 and then 86 to 90.
So there you go, 86.
So yeah, it would have been late 80s.
Would have been late 80s, but I remember Huffman's late for the KQ morning show. He's not here yet. I don't know what that's all about. Notre Dame just won that. I said, so I speculated he's probably got hung over because he got so drunk from watching them win the national championship. All of a sudden the door opens. There's this fur-collared robe and a crown. he comes. Were you there that day, Bob?
I was not. I would remember that. I was not there that day.
He comes in with a robe and a crown, and yes, Notre Dame has won it all, ladies and gentlemen. I will never forget it. And then just a few years later, I get a call that he was on his way back to a Notre Dame game too.
Yeah, he was driving with somebody, a young guy who worked at Channel 11. They were buddies, and they went to see the game.
Yep.
And I think one of them, whoever was driving, fell asleep
and got killed in a car accident. God, that was hard to take, hearing that Dave Huffman died in a car accident.
He was a terrific guy.
Oh, he's a wonderful guy, as good as it ever got.
You know what I wish they had, because I don't know if they met, or if they did, they didn't spend much time together, but Mike Morris and Dave Huffman were very similar.
Yeah, oh, absolutely.
They would have been great friends.
No, you're absolutely right about that. They probably would have been. I think that's probably true. And I like how we've turned away from the Twins because they're so horrible to talk about. I'm glad we did that. Thank you for bringing sports back into it.
Well, and then also your Timberwolves, hey, they knocked off the Lakers. They blew them out. Let's see if that continues. I was surprised they won the way they did.
No, Meat Sauce, who was over at the K-Fan Morning Show,
Yeah.
He told me that people, I don't know, he said he just cannot believe that the announcers on the game were so pro Lakers, it was impossible to watch.
Really?
I guess they were just kissing the Lakers' ass the whole game, and we won the game, correct?
You won it was a blowout.
Right, it was a blowout.
20
And I
points.
guess the announcers just kissed the Lakers' ass the entire game. He said it was impossible to finish watching the game.
Here's what the game, says when Luka Doncic gets close to 40 points and they lose and get blown out.
Mm-hmm.
It means they don't have any other depth, and LeBron is not stepping up the way he needs to. This team does have depth, the Timberwolves.
Yeah,
because
I
think 22 points is what Anthony Edwards had. So he didn't light it up, but he had a really solid all-around game, and they shot 50% from the field. 51, I think, from the field and 50 from three-point. Now, can they keep that up?
Right.
If they can, then they can really do damage. We'll see Tuesday night if they can do it again.
Well, there's a big fan in studio with you. Alex loves the Timberwolves.
Sure do.
She does. There's no question
Are
about
you
it.
an Anthony Edwards fan too?
I think he, as a person, he's like a 12-year-old boy. But as a
There you
basketball
go.
player, he's really fun to watch.
Phenomenal basketball player, and I think you're kind with the description. He's like
There you go.
Yeah. We watched the starting five, Dan and I did, and it's like he just acts like he's this like preteen boy. And I'm like, what are you doing? But very, very fun to watch play basketball. And he does have like a lot of personality on the court and with the team and everything. And I feel like it's been a while since there's been somebody like that in the NBA, like a young, just like really exciting person. And it's fun that he's on our team.
You know what? He's also very fortunate that he's playing in Minnesota, where he has a fawning media that is not going to take him to task for the stuff he has done. And he's done nothing criminal off the court, but the way, he has been with that, that text exchange with the woman who he, wanted to have an abortion, and now having paid off the entire child support for a kid, allegedly, paid it all already because he doesn't want anything to do with the woman or the kid. I don't know. I mean, I just have, as parents, I have a problem with that. You know,
No,
so but
try to give-
I'd certainly give him all his due as a great player, a great talent.
I tried to give Andy and Alex the cold shoulder, but Catherine wouldn't let me. You know,
The cold shoulder.
how do you not want to know your own child? What the hell is wrong with you?
I mean,
Some
you're
of
a
these guys,
narcissist.
they populate the earth with them. I mean,
Well,
Yeah,
that's true.
they
That's
do. They
true.
don't give a
Travis
crap.
Very
Henry
good
was
point.
what, 11 or 13 kids with 10 women?
Yeah.
You know, and
Yep.
there's others like that. I mean, we don't know how many Adrian Peterson had with how many women. We could
Right.
try to add it up.
Travis
No.
Henry, 11 children, 10 different women.
Yeah.
And the only
Jesus.
reason he had more than one child with one woman is because they were twins.
Well, there you go.
Whoa! I didn't realize that.
That's
So
phenomenal.
every
Every single one of his kids were,
That's
yeah.
phenomenal.
Wow.
Well, look up how many kids Calvin Murphy has, and because I
Oh,
think he might be
Jesus.
7 women with, or 13 kids with 7 or 8 women. Maybe even
14
9.
with 9.
9. Okay.
14 with 9. 14 children with 9 women.
Now look up how many kids Philip Rivers has and how many women he's been with.
Philip Rivers. I don't know
Not-
who any of these people
It's
are.
a
but
9-1 ratio.
Let's see. He
God.
has 10
Oh,
children.
10? Oh, he had another one with one wife. It's
He
with his
had
wife.
another one.
One
He's had
woman.
10 kids with his wife.
Jeez.
So,
With one woman.
Kids.
yeah.
Well, that used to
No.
not be all that odd in
That's
the
true.
old days.
Well, the old days, this guy was born in 81.
Well, that, yeah, I'm talking
So-
way older days than that.
a lot of really old days.
Back in the day.
Yeah.
All right,
yeah,
Bob.
that's
Before we
Before
wrap it up,
birthday.
what else you got, Pally?
Well, I mean, you mentioned the Wild. They did lose to LA, and they played 10 o'clock, by the way, Tuesday's game 2. The NHL, they wonder why people don't watch their games or why they can't get better TV deals.
Mhm.
Even on the West Coast, the game doesn't start till 8. Here, it starts at 10.
10 o'clock.
Oh,
Straighten that out. Come on.
yeah.
You're
It was
right.
almost midnight when this game ended last
That's
night.
stupid.
It is
Yeah,
stupid,
it
but
is.
they just don't get it. They think I don't know what they think, but there's
I just
that,
think-
and you know it's a great time to be a Twin Cities fan of sports right now.
I just got a message from a listener that said, Tom, aren't you going to bring up the fact that you love the NBA so much because you're so fond of Kevin McHale?
Oh, that's right. Yeah.
Not the most friendly human being. You ever had to deal with him, Bob?
Yes, and I liked him. I really
Did
did.
you? Oh,
I think if
God,
you
he was
spent more
such a
time
prick
around
to
him,
me.
like no, I don't think it's that. He's very acerbic, and he's got a biting sense of humor, as
I
you do.
guess so.
You guys,
Yeah,
get
so maybe
along
we're too
well.
much alike. Maybe that's what it is.
No, but if you spend time, how much time do you spend with him?
Not much.
Okay, I think if you spent more time with him, I mean, Herbeck's got a biting sense of humor too, right? And he's
Oh, Herbeck's great. The reason that McHale doesn't like me is because remember he used to run down the court with his chest sticking way out. When he ran down the court, his chest was sticking way out. So as a joke, I would call him Tits McHale, and he didn't like that at all.
Wow, it's not very nice.
Well, it's funny. I mean, come on, right? All right, Bob. That is good. What?
All right, not a bad guy, and if you ever run into him, I think you'd enjoy chatting with him.
Yeah, I actually had lunch with him a couple of times until
Oh.
the Tits McHale thing came up, and then I haven't talked to him
Oh.
since.
He was on Cheers twice.
Yeah, he was. He would go on Cheers. Yep, that's
Huh.
right. That's very true. Ladies and gentlemen, Bob Sansevier Sports brought to you by Bradshaw and Bryant, personal injury lawyer seeking justice for the injured. Contact Bradshaw and Bryant at minnesotapersonalinjury.com. Bob Sansevier Sports sponsored by Bradshaw and Bryant, personal injury lawyers. Oh, he just left.
He
He's
just
outta
was
here.
like, bye.
Oh, pardon me. I look up and he's
Yeah,
just
that was
gone.
Maybe he heard an explosion and he
All
just
right.
had to go.
We'll take a break and be right back and wrap things up right after this. Does thinking about retirement make you uncomfortable? Sometimes the anxiety from wondering if you've saved enough can be overwhelming. But what if I told you you could ease those tensions in just 48 minutes? My guy, Josh Arnold, Mr. Money Talk, can sit down with you and get you on the right track for your financial future. Josh has navigated it all when it comes to uncertain market and economic conditions. He'll always provide straight talk, never sugar-coated advice on how to reach the finish line with your retirement goals. Don't let your financial worries give you an ulcer or keep you from calling Josh right now. His 48-minute no-obligation consultation could be just what you need to feel better about your future. Call Josh today at 952-925-5608. Set up your free 48-minute no-obligation consultation. That's 952-925-5608. Investment services offered by Josh Arnold, investment consultant, LLC security investment advisor. Past performance, no guarantee of future results. All investments involve risk. All comments and opinions of Josh Arnold's and do not constitute investment advice. And I am a paid endorser.
The past several years have been the craziest in the history of the car business. The pandemic, supply chain and chip issues, all causing extreme inventory shortages that led to, well, predatory pricing. Some dealers charge thousands of dollars over MSRP.
We never played that game. I'm Jim Paul of Valley Buick GMC. We knew that would leave a bad taste in a customer's mouth. More importantly, from an integrity standpoint, it was just wrong.
So what about the current market? You know, inventory and pricing.
Valley has their best inventory in years. Really all the Buick and GMC models. Even the previously hard-to-find Yukons, HD pickups, and Hummer EVs. Plenty of deep discounts. Many with factory rebates and low-interest financing.
Then it's a good time to buy?
It's a great time. We're welcoming our previous customers back, as well as anyone else that felt the treatment just didn't feel right the last time somewhere else.
Valley Buick GMC in Apple Valley and Hastings or valleycardealers.com. Car buying without the bad aftertaste.
Ladies and gentlemen, you're listening. You're listening to me. Your customers are listening to me, and they'll hear me promote your business. Here's the deal. Tom Bernard Podcast also attracts thousands of listeners who are loyal, engaged, and ready to support business that they trust. That would be you, of course. Proven results, too. Our podcast has helped numerous businesses increase traffic, sales, and brand recognition. We're not just about ads. We're about results. Matter of fact, I personally know every one of our advertisers. And if you advertise, I will get to know you as well, because I like knowing who I'm talking about. That's a big, big part of it for me. Whether you're a local business or a national brand, we offer custom advertising packages designed to fit your unique needs and goals. Our audience spans multiple demographics, allowing you to target your ideal customers with precision, from millennials to baby boomers and everyone in between. So just here's the deal. With Tom, I like that they put down here with Tom's broad reach. They know I'm going to read this, and they put with Tom's broad reach. That'd be my broad reach. And passionate following, your business will see increased visibility and awareness, translating to more customers and sales. You ready to get started? Just visit tombernardshow.com, click on the partner tab. Let's discuss how we can work together to grow your business. And thank you. Andy, speaking of that, since I just did that deal, from what I can tell, looking at the numbers myself, our numbers are going up every week.
They seem to be.
I love hearing that because, you know, we're talking to people this morning about the fact that social media is so mean now, just the things that people say, and they're horrible to one another. And I do want to engage people like that because it's like, would you calm down? We are from different parts of the town, parts of the country, parts of the world. We don't all live the same life. So to go after somebody how they live their life is like, my God, makes no sense.
I've got late breaking news.
Late breaking news.
DHS chief Christy Nome was robbed by a masked man in a DC restaurant.
Oh my God.
They took her purse and
Oh my God.
just snatched her purse at DC. I mean, doesn't she have like security people?
You'd think. Yeah, you'd think. He just walked up and well, did she have it sitting under the table or something?
I have
Did he
no
sneak
idea,
it?
but DC is pretty well known for not being very safe.
Oh, it's very violent. There's no
But you would
question
think that
about it.
wherever she was eating would be a high-end kind of place in a good neighborhood.
Well,
But
plus
I
fact-
don't know.
If she's eating at your restaurant, wouldn't you keep an eye on her anyway?
Maybe they didn't know who she was.
Well, God, you better figure it out then. Because now people all over the entire world are going to find out that that's the restaurant you can get robbed in. Right? What's the name of the restaurant?
Masked man, too.
Oh, he's masked. And he comes into a restaurant masked. That's great.
Yeah, she has Secret Service protection, but a masked man was able to snatch her purse while she dined at a restaurant on Sunday night. The thief took off with her purse, which included $3,000 in cash, her passport, her DHS badge, and other valuables.
Oh, my God. How did that happen with Secret Service?
That's a really good question.
That is a great question.
All right. Any final words from everybody there in Studio A?
We didn't talk about our Easter.
Yeah, we didn't talk
Well,
about
we can talk about Easter.
Oh, I mean,
You
I
know.
guess we can do that tomorrow, but
Oh, you
I'm
got
not gonna be
big.
here tomorrow.
no, that's true.
Are there big words about it for this year?
Big words.
Oh, no, we did. Well, we talked about Easter a little bit. You talked about like leaving eggs with their names on them.
Yes.
Yeah.
You
We went
know.
to brunch because for me, Easter isn't Easter without a fancy brunch. That's just
Where's the
my-
brunch?
at the club.
At the club. Okay, there you go. Good.
The
Glad
club,
to hear
we
it.
went to brunch and it was absolutely fabulous. It's like I love that so much. And then we had Dan's family over and we just had like snack foods and they ran around outside and then yes, I hid an egg for each kid.
Oh,
and
so it was nice out?
Yeah.
That's pretty nice, yeah.
Yeah, it was nice out. And then we went to Chutes and Ladders and they ran around for a little bit. And then we went home and then I went and out to dinner with Paige and went and saw The Mousetrap at the
what?
Gumtree. It's an
Oh.
Agatha Christie play.
Yeah.
Oh,
It
yeah.
was-
Very good.
Oh.
It was so good. If you
Really?
like, it was so good. If you like murder mystery or like plays
I love Agatha
really
Christie.
at all,
Yep.
you should go. Anybody in the audience, it was fantastic. Both my friend Paige and I loved it. Like the characters were all so good. It was really well done. It was super fun. Like highly
Oh.
recommend.
Hmm.
Yeah.
Oh, and thank you for your note that you sent me that you did us a huge favor by going to brunch there.
You're
'Cause you met-
welcome.
you
Happy
met
to
our
support
minimum.
ya. Happy
I
to
just love
support
it. Yes, we showed up for you, Dad, and we spent
Did.
the amount.
Well, you know, if you don't use it, you lose it.
That's
So
true.
That's
might as
true.
well use it. And like
Oh,
that
yeah.
brunch is one of my favorite things ever. Like I
Yeah, it
was
is
so
great.
happy to go
Mm.
and get dressed up. Oh,
Did
my,
everybody
I
say
loved
hello?
it. Yes. You know, Sage's friend, the lady.
Yes.
I don't know if you
Mhm.
remember. She's pregnant.
Really?
Super pregnant. Yeah.
Hey, there you go. She's super pregnant, not just pregnant.
No, she's like
No.
looks like she's about to pop. I didn't talk to her because she was like running around, but yes, she
Oh,
looks very pregnant.
goodness.
Oh,
And
Sage
she's
just had
tall,
that.
so if she looks
Yeah.
super pregnant, she must be super
Yeah.
pregnant.
That's true.
And then Andy, you had
Yes, Andy.
Yeah, we went to this thing in St. Bonifacius.
Oh,
The
yeah.
fire department had a thing.
Oh, that's nice.
There were hundreds of children there. Like there must have been every child within a 50-mile radius came to this thing. It was insane.
Yeah.
Wasn't that? It
things
wasn't loud
are-
at all.
It was what?
Wasn't loud at all.
Oh, it was rather loud. And they were playing music, and they had a bouncy house. They had farm animals. they
Oh,
had
that's
fire
nice.
trucks.
oh, fun.
That's nice.
Ethan managed, so he likes to get in the fire trucks and like pretend
Sure.
to drive them, of course.
Sure.
And he's pretending to drive the truck, and all of a sudden we hear this, and we're like, "Oh God, what the hell did he do to that thing?" And one of the firefighters runs over and checks. Turns out he had just hit the brake, and apparently the pneumatic brakes will make that noise.
Oh.
So,
He could reach the brake?
yeah, he could reach the brake of that thing.
God, that's
Yeah,
amazing.
I know, it's insane. But then, yeah, it was pretty good. There was a Great Pyrenees farm dog that they had with the farm animals, making sure everyone was in check. And he locked onto Daisy, and he was not happy about her being there.
There you have
He's
it.
like, "You're going to try to kill my bunnies. I know it."
All right, I should mention on the way out here that I got a little bit of response to saying that I was going to leave the show in a couple of years, and basically tens of thousands of people said, "No, you're not." So
No?
I don't know what that's all about, but we're gonna see what happens in the future. But yeah, all right. Well, that's going to do it for today. We will talk to you tomorrow.
Bye.
Bye.
Oh, boy.